Well, good evening, night owls, and thank you for allowing me into your living rooms once again.
Hello and welcome to Ycft. Today we are doing our quick review of Late Night with the Devil, directed by Colin and Cameron Cairns. Siblings, this is a Shudder-produced found footage, in a way, you could say this is a found footage movie.
Yeah, it is, technically.
About a late night talk host, Jack Delroy, played by David Dalsmashian. I'm assuming I'm getting that name right.
We've struggled with this for a long time.
Jack hosts a show called Night Owls with Jack Delroy, and viewing numbers are not good.
No, failing ratings.
And him and his producers start trying to think of ways to bring numbers up because their contract's about to come to an end. So they do a big Halloween special where they bring on this young girl who is the survivor of a cult and is potentially, according to her doctor's new book, possessed by a demon. And things start to go awry. So Sam, what did you think of this film?
I just want to say, right off the bat, I saw the trailer for this and I fell in love with it. I knew right away I was going to really enjoy this film because I had really big Ghostwatch vibes. For anyone who doesn't know, Ghostwatch was a fictional broadcast that was made in the early 90s, British produced bit of TV drama that was all about a talk show that went drastically wrong with demonic possession. Very famous. Got really big vibes from that. Went to see the movie, absolutely loved it. I really, really love this film. I want to see it again already. It's well made. It's very well acted. I love anything that's, film-wise, that's retro, that's a little bit vintage, that's set in a different time period. The movie is set, I think, in 1977, and I truly can't think of a better example of seeing 70s sort of cinematography, like that vintagey kind of feel. This is perfectly recreated. I love the story, quite simple. The format is quite simple. The found footage element is basically because what we are seeing throughout the film is the lost broadcast of what happened that night, because it's filmed live and we are seeing that broadcast, including behind the scenes footage. So we're basically in the one space throughout the entire film. We're in the TV studio. I loved that. I love the characters. I love where the film went. David Dalsmashian carries this film. He's fantastic.
It's nice to see David leading a film. Like, he's been around obviously for a while. He's massively into horror. Like most horror documentaries we've watched, he's on it. He's talking about his love for the genre. And you found out when looking at the trivia that the directors actually offered him the role because of an article that he wrote for Fangoria about regional TV horror hosts.
Yes, he knows his stuff. Yeah, he's a big horror nerd, David Dalsmashian. He appears in lots of documentaries and stuff talking about horror movies. He really knows his trivia. And yeah, I guess the Cairns were just like, this is our guy.
I have to shout, the production, like you said, this feels like it was made in the 70s. Kind of similar to House of the Devil, Ty West's film that was obviously made to try and emulate that feeling.
Yeah.
You could cut out the behind-the-scenes stuff and just watch this as an episode of a late-night talk show. And I like how it swaps the aspect ratio. So when we're seeing the broadcast bit, we're seeing the broadcast aspect ratio. And then when it goes to the behind the scenes, it's a more widescreen, it's black and white. That just really, really worked for me. And it's a breath of fresh air, both into found footage, which has been a relatively, dead medium for a while. And it's hard to justify why something needs to be found footage. This makes a lot of sense. And also, possession films are usually copy and paste in a lot of ways. And this was, again, something a little bit different. And I really, really appreciate that. I suppose if I was to pick apart something, it would be some of the pacing, because it is kind of restricted to the pacing of a late night talk show. But that's very, very nitpicky. But other than that, I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think this movie will be for everybody, as we found out from our cinema experience. We had a dreadful crowd, which clearly got a bit bored. It is a bit of a slow burn. In fact, we had to sit for it for a day to try and separate our experiences of the movie from our experiences from the viewing.
Yeah.
We were very, very...
It was painful.
It was painful. But we are quite lucky. Since it was when we'll actually see the Shudder logo up on the big screen. This will be released to Shudder next month. At the end of April. So we'll be able to rewatch it again. And particularly the last 10 minutes were particularly ruined for us. So I'm very much looking forward to rewatching the last part. In fact, this entire movie. The film really does a good job at showing us what the cost of fame and success
Yeah,
can be.
for sure.
And I won't call this outright scary. I think there's definitely someone next to me who got properly jump scared at one
That was
point.
wonderful, yeah.
But there are some incredibly tense sequences that had me. I was fully invested throughout the entirety of this film. I also just want to shout out Ian Bliss as Carmichael the Conjurer, a former magician turned skeptic. He was a lot of fun throughout this. Like, you always need, when you've got someone who's claiming to be supernaturally possessed or has some sort of supernatural powers, you need to have that skeptic to counterbalance both sides of the story, and I think he fills that role really, really well. And also Ingrid Torelli as Lily, the girl the cult survivor who is possessed. This is her first feature role?
Apparently, yeah, she's acted in TV, but this is her first movie.
Granted, she doesn't have a ton of dialogue in this, but she has this look about her. The way she looks down into the camera is so off-putting. Really, really impressive, and I'm kind of excited to see what she does after this.
Yeah, I think I said to you when we came out, no offence to her, because I think, she probably is quite young, and this is clearly, what they cast her for this reason. But she does give very strongly, Manson family follower vibes, with the long middle part, stringy hair, and like the very sort of sullen expression. So it fits right in, for the time period as well. Yeah, I agree with what you just said as well. I personally did not have an issue with the pacing. I enjoy the slow burn. I loved how with every time it cut to a commercial and we were back in the studio, things were getting ramped up and up and up. It's like as the broadcast was going on, things were getting a little bit more intense every time. And it's a talk show, so we've got the traditional panel, we've got the guests, and you've got the skeptic versus the believer, and they have some genuinely really interesting discussions there. And it's all the characters work very well. They're very well written. They've got that wonderful kind of OTT 70s quality to them. What's he called? Ian Bliss. Really kind of hamming it up. Glorious moustache, glorious 70s colours that he wears. I really love this. For me, it's a 5 out of 5 movie.
Highly recommend it. It's a very limited release, and we're lucky that we managed to get a chance to go see it. But if you don't get a chance, like I said, it's coming to Shudder next month. It is definitely worth your time. Just an interesting spectacle.
Yeah, and also, this is just a very quick review that we're doing. We wanted to get some initial thoughts out, but we love this, and we are committed to doing a more in-depth review of this movie at some point this year as well, to properly dissect it.
We hope we've inspired you to go out and seek out this film, because I don't feel like it's going to be in theatres for very long.
No.
I doubt it'll still be in theatres by the time it comes
Catch it while you
to
can.
streaming. They always say there's no original films coming out. And yes, this is definitely inspired by a few other things, but they are there if you look for them.
They are
and
there.
Movies like this deserve some attention. It's great to see David Dastmalchian leading a film, because he can do it. He's got that acting prowess. He's good. He's very, very good.
Yeah.
We can't wait to watch this again. So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.